Yeah, Imagine Martin is part of a new event coming to town, and we have Hannah here to tell us a little bit more about LakeFest. Welcome, Hannah. Thanks for being with us today.
I really appreciate you guys inviting me on. I am really excited to talk about LakeFest today.
I am too. First, would you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and who you are and where you work?
Of course. My name is Hannah Neusch. I'm the Water Resources Coordinator for the City of Fairmont. I obviously work for the city, but within the city, my job is water quality based. So I was hired on in 2021, I believe, if memory serves me correctly. But essentially what my position is since it's a water quality based position, I do a lot of public outreach, and as part of that is event planning. And I'm just starting to sort of step into that role in this position as we move towards LakeFest.
So tell us a little bit about LakeFest and what that is.
Okay, so LakeFest is, I'm very excited about it. It is an event that sort of developed over time. When I first started this position, it was something that I was really passionate about from the educational component, where I thought it would be really fun to have this event that was centered around the lakes, since we are a community of 5 lakes.
Right.
And we don't have, as of yet, a festival that celebrates our lakes specifically. So we wanted, my idea was, why don't we develop this into sort of a lakes festival type event?
Nice.
So the heart and soul of the event really comes from our partnership with Imagine Martin.
Yes.
Which is wonderful that we have such a resource in our community for things like this. But essentially, last year, the city we applied for and received a grant through the Minnesota Department of Health.
Okay.
So what a lot of people may or may not realize is our drinking water is drawn from our surface water, which is our lakes.
Yeah.
And because of that, there's a lot of benchmarks that we have to hit for water quality education through the community. And I thought that a LakeFest sort of festival that celebrates our lakes, we could not only have a good time in enjoying celebrating our lakes for the recreational component, but we can also add the sort of educational component too, which I think would work really well. Time will tell if it does, but I'm really excited to share it with people. So essentially this grant, which was $8,000, we got from the Minnesota Department of Health, and it is for the installation of educational murals, artistic representations, and reminders to be the best steward of the environment and of our lakes as we can.
Right.
So with this money, we are able to hire artists such as Imagine Martin and other artists that work in the community. And they can essentially install these pieces of art that remind people to keep it clean, or that, the lake starts with you, or the lake starts here. So we've been having these installations happening over the past couple of months.
Right.
And
it started last year.
Yes, that's exactly right. At the Sip and Shop, I believe, was our first one.
Yep.
And you have been heavily involved in the planning process.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yes, of course. Imagine Martin, I mean, that's like, our focus is to inspire people to create. And then when you came to us asking for help to find artists that could then, promote this clean drinking water aspect of your grant, it was an awesome partnership.
Yeah, it seemed to make perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that you guys were receptive of that as well, because it made sense in my mind when I sent the email to you guys.
Yeah.
And it's worked out really well, and really gone above and beyond what what we initially requested of you. So
we need to get Jeff started to paint.
Yeah.
Hey, are you going to be at LakeFest?
I hope so.
Okay, well, we'll have a paintbrush reserved for you.
There you go.
When When is LakeFest exactly?
It is August 10th,
Okay.
which is the Sunday. There's no mistake there. We wanted to do it on a day where, people could come and just sort of have this, just be relaxed. I don't want people to feel rushed. I want people to come and go as they pleased. So it is on a Sunday, for now at least.
For now. Maybe in the future it'll change, but it was really hard when you and I were talking to find a date that, nothing else was planned or booked, especially in the summer when everybody's super busy.
It's a busy time of year.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And unfortunately, with so many things happening in the community, we found out later on that there is an event that's happening at the same time. So I would like to say, at the same time, there is Threshing Days, which is happening. And I think it's important to give them a shout out too, because we, discussed maybe doing some sort of partnership, of our events. And it unfortunately just didn't work because of the nature of our two events. But, after you finish at LakeFest, head over to Threshing Days. And as your Threshing Days come over to LakeFest, we're going to have a couple different things going on at different locations. So I want to make sure I gave them a shout out as well, because that's, kind of a pillar event in the community too. So I don't want there to be any competition there.
What are the hours on the event?
10 to 4.
Okay.
Yep. So this year is going to be 10 to 4, and this is our first year.
Yeah.
So things may change over time, but this year we're sort of testing the waters, so to speak, and seeing how it goes, what we like. Make maybe a few little mistakes on a much smaller scale. And then as we grow and, get feedback from the public and get some idea of what residents like to see, and what they liked from the event and what they didn't like, we can sort of change it over time. So
I know you've been posting kind of sneak peeks on Facebook and online. Can you give us some of the cool things that are going to be there?
Yeah, so the heart and soul of LakeFest is going to be Imagine Martin artists.
Yes.
Installing these paintings. So when I originally was, thinking about LakeFest, I was really inspired by Chalk Fest, which is in the cities. I believe it's Minneapolis. Irrelevant, but where you kind of have this sort of heart and soul of this art event happening, and you have these sort of satellite vendors that are at the same time, but you really are there to watch the artist's work. And that's the idea. So the grant pays for these art installations and for the artist's time and for their supplies. So, as people come and look and watch these artists, we hope that they will also sort of be moving around the event to some of these other things. So we do have a Facebook event, the City of Fairmont does. Which is new and exciting technology. But we do have it. We are updating it. We're trying to update it almost once a day with new announcements and exciting vendors and, things that are happening that we think people will be excited about. So we've announced so far, the things that I can tell you so far is we're going to have the cup truck there, which is always very exciting. There will be another food truck, but we haven't gotten to that point yet, so I won't be talking about that on this. But keep watching. We have the cup truck that's going to be there. We're going to have for those of us with little kids, this is very exciting. We're going to have a giant sand pile for the kids to climb on, bring your own shovels, buckets, that sort of thing. That will be there at Amber Lake Park. We'll have the artists that are working on the sidewalks and the paintable surfaces, but also over near the boat ramp. I do want to stress that the boat ramp's still going to be open. People can still use the boat ramp, so we're not going to be closing the boat ramp, but there will be an area that's roped off for the artists to work. Yep. So just wanted to make sure that anybody that's looking to go out on the lake that day, they can still access the lake from Amber Lake Park.
In the so you have the grant this year.
Yeah.
But is that going to be, do you think, the future too of LakeFest, or what is it going to turn into?
Well, that's a Really great question. Ideally, in my mind, in a perfect world, I would love to see LakeFest sort of grow into this event that takes on a life of its own, you know. And obviously, that is not something that you and I can plan alone.
Right.
So I see this sort of as an organized event with a larger group of people who are making these decisions and bringing new and inventive ideas. I would love to see this event sort of rotating around the lakes and to different parks, different locations. Whether the grant itself has to be expended, we have to use all the money by the end of the summer. So the grant will no longer be available. But my hope would be that we can find some way to sponsor the event to continue or budget it within our budget. Whether or not that's possible, I'm not sure. But I'd love to explore whatever option that looks like. So as far as like 10 years from now, I'd really love to see it continue, obviously.
Yeah.
But I would also like to see, like, the physical components of the event. I'd like to see it be much larger. I'd like to see more vendors. I'd love to see, I'd love to have, like, live music, beverages, food. It's a place that you just sort of want to be at, sort of like a festival,
Yeah.
Especially with the lakes. I mean,
Exactly.
it kind of goes, like, hand in hand with Fairmont. Like
City of Five Lakes.
Yeah, we should celebrate our lakes. And we have other events in the city are great, but like to have one focused on our 5 lakes would be really neat.
Yes, and I'd love to see the lakes being incorporated in the festival. So obviously, food trucks and art installations have to happen where there is no water.
Right,
It has to be on land. You can't do that on the lake. But I'd love to see, it extend into the lake. And, some ideas that we have for the future, budget and time allowing, would be like having a drive-in theater, but it's with your boat, a big inflatable movie theater, and people can sit on rafts and watch a family-friendly movie and, like on their boat in the evening to sort of like top off the night, that sort of thing. Or having, another idea would be having a paddling excursion for people who may be novices or beginners with kayaks and canoes and that sort of thing. Getting people out on the water and enjoying our lakes.
Yeah.
Encouraging them to visit businesses that are on our lakes as well, or that you can access from the water. But as far as, there's the physical component of what I just described, but there's also sort of an educational component, which I think is important, which is, your water quality and your lake protection. And what does that look like 10 years from now? And I would hope with the repetitiveness of the event and having that educational component in LakeFest, that you have a public that's more informed about our lakes in a lot of different ways, which I think will help move our community forward as far as water quality is concerned. And that's only beneficial to everyone. You're talking about property values and tourism and all of those things that this is not the forum for that discussion, but it's good to do these things. And then of course you have like the benefits to a community as a whole, as having this event continue year after year. Everyone taking a little bit of responsibility in cleaning up after our own selves and being cognizant of how we're impacting the environment. That really pushes the whole community to be able to make these bigger, more difficult things happen. Because it's difficult, to do these. You look at these huge projects and you think, how is this ever going to get done? And really what it comes down to is people, helping each other and helping themselves. So I can't really say like in 10 years from now, what exactly it would look like, but we all have this like, this dream, and that one's mine. So I'd love to see it continue, and I'd love to see it change over time. And I really think that it's poised to do that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it, painting there and then seeing just who attends and who can get some fun out of it and some knowledge.
Yeah, that's right. We can, as far as the attendance goes, we're really just we're inviting, of course, anybody that wants to come. The great thing about LakeFest is that there's not an entry fee, so it's not like you have to pay any sort of ticket price to get in. And from someone with young kids, you know, like if we could save, you know, a couple dollars on things that keep them busy for a few hours, like that's fantastic. Exactly. I'm on board. So there's no admission fee. You know, we encourage everybody to come out. There's really going to be a lot of different educational components for different ages. And we're just really excited to share all of that with the community. Again, we do have a Facebook page. We can make sure that we link it. And then people can visit it. That is where we're going to be doing the updates. And we get a general idea then of, you know, who wants to attend and how many people we might expect, which is a good roundabout idea, so we can have some idea of like how many materials do we need for this sort of thing. So but we have a lot of really great vendors involved in this, and we're just very, very excited to get this off the ground.
And as you had mentioned earlier, you have like some nuggets, so if people follow the Facebook page, they'll get those nuggets as they get released.
Yes, that's right. And like I said, we are keeping a few secrets. So but those secrets, I think, are going to be more exciting once we get closer to the event and we release them. So, and there are some things that are still in the works that we can't quite talk about yet. But we're really looking forward to this being sort of a family-friendly activity where people could come and go as they like, and enjoy our lakes.
Yes. Well, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Well, Hannah, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really do appreciate the time you guys took to interview me about this. And I look forward to August 10th, and I look forward to everybody else joining us there. Make sure that you follow our event page on Facebook. And I'm just super excited to see how the first year goes and moving forward into the future.
Yeah.
Absolutely.